One of the things that Ann Duffy does very well as a poet is the dramatic monologue, which takes us into the mind of a character, sometimes a character we may never have heard of, but occasionally a character from literature. And some of the dramatic monologues in this collection take us into the minds of women who may have had perhaps a very bad reputation or may have been stereotyped as being particularly evil. And yet what Ann Duffy does is to take us behind the stereotype and to show something about them as real living people. And rather than portray them as wicked, portray them as in some way people who've been injured and have had to cope with the injury by turning to revenge. Salome is a biblical character who for centuries has been portrayed as an evil woman who did something unpardonable in asking for the head of John the Baptist to be presented to her. In this poem, Ann Duffy looks behind that evil image to find somebody who's been hurt, somebody we might even have some sympathy with. And there's even a hint that possibly the holy man might have taken advantage of her. The poem uses a very clever pattern of half-rhyme throughout. We have later, matter, lighter, laughter, flatter, pewter, Peter. So there's quite a lot to look for in this in choice of words and use of words which may create a sort of pattern throughout the whole poem. You can see how far she keeps those ter ending words throughout. One of the interesting things about these dramatic monologues is that they pick on interesting characters, and sometimes characters with such a reputation that no two readers come to see them in the same way. And this isn't a problem, because one of the things the examiners will be looking for is the ability of candidates to see that there are two interpretations to a poem. Some of these poems are very well suited to two interpretations. Salome, for example, to some people might be nothing other than an evil, spiteful, cruel woman who takes advantage of an innocent man and relishes in the awful things that she does to him. Another reader, though, might look at Salome and think, what drives a woman to that? And there are hints in the poem that she's been hurt or let down, and she's been driven to extreme measures, and she feels that others should know what she knows, that life's a bitch. So looking at her motives and judging what she's done is part of your own response to Ann Duffy's poem. In the answer, you've got to make some links between Salome, if that's the named poem, and a poem by Armitage, as well as two from the pre-1914 bank. And this is where you can look through all the poems and decide which ones you think would be most effective to compare. I think a good comparison from Armitage is Kid, because there you have somebody who's also been resentful of a relationship and quietly been building up a fury and wants in some ways to take a revenge. If you're looking at the pre-1914 poems to link up with Kid and with Salome, the two that immediately stand out are the two by Robert Browning. That's The Laboratory and My Last Duchess. Both poems which show how feelings of hurt and rejection, even if they're imaginary, can unhinge people and turn them into violent and destructive characters.
And limbo stick is the silence in front of me. Limbo, limbo like me. Limbo, limbo, limbo like me. Limbo, limbo like me. Long dark night is the silence in front of me. Limbo, limbo like me. Oh, limbo, limbo like me. Stick hits sung, then the ship like it ready. Stick hits sung, then the dark still steady. Limbo, limbo like me. Long dark deck and the water surrounding me. Long dark deck and the silence is over me. Limbo, limbo like me. Stick is the whip and the dark deck is slavery. Stick is the whip and the dark deck is slavery. Limbo, limbo like me. Limbo, limbo, limbo like me. Drumstick knock and the darkness is over me. Knees spread wide and the water is hiding me. Limbo, limbo like me. Limbo, limbo like me. Knees spread wide and the dark ground is under me. Dung, 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 and the drummer is calling me. Limbo, limbo like me. Sun coming up and the drummers are praising me. Out of the dark and the dumb gods are raising me. Up, 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 and the music is saving me. Hot, slow step on the burning ground.